What's going on, hockey fans? Dan K, Lucas Jones, my left-hand man, Mike Consigliere, Mon Frere from another mayor, live from the Summer Showcase in Wayne, New Jersey. Here talking not just about a great event, not just about a big weekend in NCDC lore, but talking about our schedule release, talking a little bit of a NCDC hockey, talking some way too early predictions, and Lucas also talking about how this Deneen Cup playoff is going to look as the season goes on. Amongst all of that, before we get to anything else, before we move down this road, I have to I introduced in my left-hand man, Mike Consigliere, first because we're introducing in new content. The NCDC this week. NCDC this week presented by the Dan K Show. It will be a weekly show each and every Tuesday. Once this NCDC season gets underway, the man will be doing a lot of the work to get that done. Lucas Jones, how excited are you about this rebrand with the show product? We're going to have our Dan K Show covering the Premier and Elite on Thursday nights, our NCDC this week each and every Tuesday that folks can watch right here on YouTube.
I think it's great. I mean, we have been trying to, I think, expand what we do for so long, right? And as the league has gotten bigger, it's gotten a little bit harder to make sure that, we're able to do as much as we can, right? You have the Premier Elite playoffs, which are such a huge component. We do our power rankings all the time. Last season, we started doing the NCDC power rankings a little bit more, right? And now with the addition of those Western teams, right, a new division, a little bit of a restructuring, the NCDC has really created for itself, I think, a niche for us to be able to talk about them in terms of power rankings, in terms of a few other things. Then all of a sudden we thought, well, at this point, they just need their own show because there is too much NCDC action to put in like a B block on a weekly content piece.
Yeah, and you look at it, the NCDC this week, we're going to be covering highlights from past weekend's games. We're going to be covering the latest and greatest from all the players on the ice. We're going to be talking with players on interviews, talking with coaches, all kinds of great content on that weekly show. We're also bringing back yet again, Lucas, the NCDC Scoutcast, bigger and better than ever. Scoutcast, your best way to scout your favorite NCDC team or your favorite team to scout from if you're a college hockey coach.
I honestly love the Scoutcast. I'll be honest, the first Scoutcast was a little terrifying because all of a sudden I walk in, I set up all the cameras, the switcher, we do the graphics ahead of time. And, whenever you do something for the first time, you always got to run through that wall. We've run through plenty of walls over the last 8-9 years, and that was a fun one. And now that we've kind of refined it, we've gotten a little bit better at it, we've got some additional help along the way. Those Scoutcasts are going to be a lot of fun. If you don't know what a Scoutcast is, if you're new to the NCDC, we kind of take a little bit of a step back in terms of the high intensity broadcast that and come to know and love from Dan K, and the mid-intensity color commentary that you've come to know and love from me. And we just kind of talk about the game. We highlight players. We look at statistics. We use these advanced stats reports that the NCDC and the USPHL generate. So we bring a little bit more data, a little bit more perspective. We love having scouts and coaches to interview on there as well. It is a fun time.
Now let's talk about the schedule release for the NCDC. Expansion this season. I only like high intensity. Same here, babe. Same here. It's all about high intensity. We talk about the NCDC this year. You now expand west. You'll have the NCDC Mountain Division for the first time in league history. 6 new teams coming in: the Rock Springs Grizzlies, the Idaho Falls Potato Kings, or Spud Kings, or Potato Zaddies. We call them the Zads.
Yeah.
We call them the Potato Zaddies. The Spud Kings in Idaho Falls, 4,000 a night in that crowd. Absolutely electric atmosphere. The Pueblo Bulls, who put a live bull on the rink before each and every game. That's crazy. Also terrifying. He's a mini bull though, so he'll hurt, but not all. It's not a running of the bulls. This is right. Pamplona. Is it Pamplona? Did I say that right?
Close enough.
Pamplona?
I think you're close enough. Also, when you say they put a bull on the ice, I always picture them as using the figure skating and lowering the bull ever so slightly down to the ice.
He walks out. He walks out under his own power. Ogden Mustangs, the Utah Outliers, the Provo Predators, baby. Those are your 6 new teams out west. They're joined by the NCDC's Eastern teams, your Atlantic Division and your North Division, or your New England Division. Your New England Division this year, Luke, is the big addition. Utica moving up north to fill in as the 6th squad in the New England Division. It's going to be a tough bout this year up there.
It's going to be interesting, right? You do have a little bit of that, call it realignment, call it a little bit of shuffling, right? But Utica kind of sits geographically in a bit of a unique position when you talk about kind of the New England teams, and then you talk about the Atlantic teams. And the thing with Utica is their facility is gorgeous. We were up there for the Elite and Premier National Championships. You can go, when you're done with this video, you can stay on the YouTube page and check out some of the videos from that last season. But I think Utica is going to be an interesting team philosophy to now put in with some of those northern teams. We know that teams like the Northern Cyclones and the Twin City Thunder so good defensively. Obviously, the South Shore Kings, a balanced dynamo. They made it to the NCDC championship, the Deneen Cup last season. And Utica, I always picture as that team of they are smart, they are disciplined, and I really feel like it's going to be interesting watching them. Not to say getting used to, but getting injected with some teams that, while they were familiar last year, they're going to be a lot more familiar coming up.
The folks in the Atlantic Division, it's a little bit of a different look this year than these guys are used to. You see every year the Jersey Hitmen come in as that preseason favorite, as that first choice for a potential Founders Cup, the regular season champion. For those of you new to the NCDC from the Mountain Division, the winner of the regular season, the best record in the regular season, your Founders Cup champion. Dan K gets to hand that one out at the end of each regular season, whether you like it or not.
Forced to hand it out.
Whether you like it or not, Dan K, you're going out there, put your little suit on, and go hand out a trophy, young man. But you got that Founders Cup champion. You're used to them winning that thing. You're used to them being a Deneen Cup champion favorite. This is going to be a completely fresh roster this year. Every single skater on the ice for the Jersey Hitmen will be brand new for this squad. PAL, the Junior Islanders, the defending Deneen Cup champs, they're returning some big stars, leading the way, Heike Vertanen.
It is a summer of chaos. That is what we're looking at right now. And we've seen the NCDC, we've been following it since its inception. And this has probably been the most chaotic summer offseason to try to follow. I mean, if you thought Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Slamball all releasing on the same day was chaos, just wait for the start of the NCDC season, because you got to imagine that PAL is coming in as the favorite, right? Deneen Cup champions, you got to imagine that's the case. But with the Jersey Hitmen, what are they known for? They're known for development and scouting. So when you talk about a team that's completely new, does it almost make you a little more terrified than if they were bringing back some more returners?
I don't know. I mean, it's always tough, right? Junior hockey, you always see a lot of fresh faces in the building, right? Because guys age out at this level of the game, guys move up, especially at this NCDC Tier 2 level. With some of the younger skaters that do skate in this Tier 2 league, you get the opportunity to maybe advance to the USHL. You get the opportunity to go collegiately. There's a lot of places you can kind of move up the ladder in this NCDC brand. So you always see a lot of fresh faces, but a whole new squad, Lucas, that is always a tough mountain to climb. We did see a familiar face in the building today trying out for the Islanders Hockey Club. The Murph Man, Frank Murphy, in net today for IHC.
Yeah, we saw Frank Murphy, and we've seen some logos from all across the league as well. We saw some Sabres, some folks from the San Diego Sabres in the building, a lot of Thunderbirds in the building as well. So you always love to see the NCDC taking advantage of the talent pool that's being cultivated in the USPHL's Premier and Elite. That's always great here. I mean, PAL looks supremely confident. I caught Mike Marcoux holding court in the restaurant on day one yesterday. It was a huge crowd. I couldn't see what they were looking at. It was Coach Marcoux. He was talking to the team. Again, Dan, you also caught him.
I did.
He tried to hide what he was talking about. And of course, if we're talking to Coach Mike Marcoux, what is he worried about?
He's the king of transportation, Mike Marcoux. He is the leader of the Department of Transportation for the USPHL. Every time I see this guy, he's either got to go because he's got to catch a ferry. Maybe he's got to catch his Uber. Maybe he's trying to catch a train out of the Secaucus Junction to get back home. You never know, but this guy's always dealing with transportation.
And this year, he's trying to catch a second Deneen Cup victory. Back-to-back, extremely tough to do. But PAL, they are a force, right? You talked about Vertanen, who's going to be coming back. I mean, that is a sizable, both metaphorically and realistically, presence on the ice. That is going to be a fun one. But this Atlantic Division, with how good the Connecticut Junior Rangers have been every year, now adding Coach Mike Stanaway at the premier level, right? He's going to be working with that Premier and Elite side, giving Coach Henkel the ability to really zone in and focus on the NCDC. I know he's happy to have Coach Stanaway on that team. A lot of craziness that could happen in the Atlantic.
And let's talk about some of the tent poles in the season this year, right? You look at the opening game of the year, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time puck drop. We're going to have to get used to the NCDC to sing Eastern Standard and Mountain Standard, baby. We got people all over the country, baby. Dick Vitale's back. We're not an ACC country yet at the NCDC level. When are we going to the South? No, but you look at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, your first puck drop of the year, the Northern Cyclones hosting the defending Dineen Cup runners-up, the South Shore Kings, who certainly want to punch their ticket back to the Dineen Cup Championship. They want to get back and get a chance at that thing. That's your first puck drop of the season, Friday, September 22nd, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch that on Hockey TV. Then you've got games aplenty. Ogden opening up their home opener at 7:15 Mountain Time. PAL, your defending champs against Wilkes-Barre at home on Friday, September 22nd, an 8:15 p.m. prime time matchup. Going to be dropping a banner at that one. Pueblo, Rock Springs. Lucas, what is there a storyline for you? I'm guessing it comes in the New England Sports Center on the 29th of September. Is that the first big storyline you're looking at on the schedule?
I think so.
That big rematch of that Dineen Cup Championship.
I think so. And, as much as we talk about refresh and development, because that's what it is, right? It's the National Collegiate Development Conference. There's also championship. There's wins and losses. There is intense competition. I think that might be the first real moment of, oh, okay. Because the NCDC has, they have all summer, as all these teams do. They're recruiting, they're practicing. We're recording this right now in Wayne, New Jersey at the summer showcase, where teams have brought some prospects that they are not so sure about. They want to give a workout. They also want to get some of the guys they know are going to be playing with them. It's a chance in the early season to play together. I do think that first weekend, always a little interesting, right? You get up to game speed. So I think that very next weekend, Dan, that's going to be the really interesting matchup.
Some of your tentpole events on the schedule in the USPHL season, we kick things off up at the New England Sports Center at the end of September, the Junior Bruin Shootout. That'll always be a fun one. You'll see the Atlantic Division taking on the New England out there. Mm-hmm. Then you kind of scroll through. You go right to the Ice Ball 1 week later. We're in Wayne, New Jersey, battling yet again between those two, the New England and Atlantic divisions up in Wayne, New Jersey. That's October, first weekend there in October. Then December, Lucas. Idaho Falls, December 13th through the 15th. The Dan K Show will officially be in Idaho Falls. The Potato Zaddies hosting all the squads from that mountain division. That's going to be an absolute blast.
It is. And it's going to be fun because we're going to get to see all the teams from the mountain division, right, who we worked with last year when they were in the Premier. But it's also going to be our first chance to really go see the venue in Idaho Falls, right, to go interact with that team in person. Had a lot of conversations with staff last year and staff this summer as well. But it's going to be our first chance to really get out there. We're going to call some games. We're gonna meet some folks. We're going to just kind of hang out, really take in the vibe. I think that's going to be the most interesting thing, right? Because we can watch the games on Hockey TV and you'll be able to watch them all season long. But I think to be there, to go and really take in the vibes out in Idaho Falls is going to be great. I want to see this broadcast booth. I want to get into the electronics. I want to see what the technology is up there because they made quite a splash last year with their multicam setup. So if you lose me, I'm probably upstairs pushing buttons. Speaking
of potatoes making a splash, I'll tell you this much. Nathan Hem, you guys don't know him at home, but Lucas knows him. He's a guy. I'm going to be going to his actual bachelor party right from here. I leave from Wayne, New Jersey, head up to Lake George, New York. We're going to go celebrate him getting married there. He had a potato make a splash just recently, and not in honor of the Spud King. So
interesting to see where this goes.
We were on a trip to another friend's wedding, and there were potatoes on a table, and someone slid a potato into his backpack. He didn't notice that happened, not only on that trip.
No.
But apparently he didn't notice until he got on a plane to Greece.
That's an international violation.
Flew all the way to Greece with a potato in his backpack. That potato is now in the Aegean Sea.
That is a well-traveled potato.
One of a kind. One of the most well-traveled potatoes outside of Idaho Falls is that potato. Can't wait to see you in Idaho Falls, Andrew. We can't wait to see you either. And you look at it, Lucas. You look at this Idaho Falls event up there in December. We're also working on some content for them.
Yes, we are working on some content for them. I think we don't want to give too much away.
I'd love to say the name.
Half because we don't know what it's going to look like yet. But
look good.
There is a name. Do you want to give the name?
Law and Order SPUD.
Yes. So
Spud edition.
We want to make some intermission content for the Idaho Falls showcase. Law and Order Spud SPUD. It's going to feature Dan and myself potentially as playing multiple roles in this show.
Usually how most of our content.
Yeah. And it's going to be solving potato-related crimes. And if you're lucky enough to witness it, we're sorry in advance, but also maybe you'll enjoy it.
Well, don't forget, you got the Foxborough Sports Center is going to be hosting an event in February. That's going to be that President's Day showcase. That'll be back-ended by the NCDC Atlantic versus New England All-Star Game. Lucas and I are working on some other fun stuff out there in the mountain. We'll keep everyone posted on that. There may be some fun news to come out in the mountain region right after that President's Day showcase as well in terms of All-Star status. The big storyline, the postseason, Lucas.
Yeah.
In the first season of its inception, the mountain will not meet the Atlantic or the New England until the Deneen Cup finals. That's going to be when this thing's all decided. It'll be April 26th to the 28th. I mean, does that play advantage to anybody not seeing each other? I mean, that's going to be absolutely insane to meet each other for the first time in the final 3 games of your season.
And I think the fact that it's only 3 games, right? So you're going to have to take advantage of as much video as possible. Little self-plug, you probably should watch the Dan K Show, because those power rankings might be the only way that you're going to be able to get any kind of comparison with the teams, the Mountain versus the teams in the Atlantic and New England. I don't know if there's an advantage here. I think this plays into chaos a little bit, because what we saw from last year for the Mountain Division was it is very hard hitting. It is fast. It is physical. And the Atlantic and New England divisions, they are certainly fast and physical as well. I am very excited for that game 1. Yeah. I think whoever ends up in the Deneen Cup this year, that game 1 is going to be must-see TV. And I don't even know if you can pull much usefulness from it, right? You'll be able to break down certain plays as a coach, right? If a team gets by you, if a team doesn't break out, you try to figure out where your defense kind of went down. But that first game is going to be all about survival. I would not be surprised to see both coaches kind of throw out their lines and go, let's roll lines. Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it, right in front of us. Don't do anything fancy, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, and you go through that postseason, you're going to have 5-game series now as you kind of break through early on in the postseason. It's going to be a slog to get to that final game, to get to that Deneen Cup, and it's going to be an absolute battle. As this league goes on, you'll start to see that cross-mingling over the years in the NCDC brand. But this year, with that kind of sequestering of the Mountain playing against the Mountain out there on the western side of the country, and then the Atlantic and New England kind of intermingling a bit more at these showcases out east, it's going to be an absolutely stellar season to watch. You're going to be able to watch along with us all year long. NCDC this week. The announcement here today, the Dan K Show's NCDC this week, airing each and every Tuesday right here. When is the USPHL Premier schedule coming out? That is coming out this upcoming week, folks. So keep an eye out. We've got the Southeast, the Florida, all of those divisions already settled in. There's a few more tweaks and contabulations. 61 teams in the Premier. I will tell you what, folks, it takes a bit of time to get everyone's ice sheets together. It's a little easier with a 6-team NCDC Mountain and then a 12-team NCDC Atlantic and New England for everybody to figure out how the schedules drive together, how puck drop times, how ice availability is going to work. When you do it with 61 teams nationwide from Seattle down to San Diego, Palm Beach, Florida, all the way up to Maine, it takes a little bit more time to get everybody on the same page, all 61. But you will see that Sports and Horns coming out very, very soon. This week is when they should be releasing most of it, outside of maybe the last few tweaks and contabulations when it comes to showcase games.
Yeah, exactly. Those showcases always in flux until you get to about 45 days ahead of an event is kind of that magic number. So you will certainly hear about it from the league. You will absolutely hear about it from us. We'll be blowing that out of the water, because with that schedule, we'll get a little bit closer to finalizing our travel schedule for this year, which is sizable.
I will say last season we traveled a lot of miles. This season we may travel more. The Dan K Show mobile may not survive
it. we are hoping to travel. So last year we were on the road for 55% by the end of the season. 55% of the available days from September to the Deneen Cup Championship. Right. That includes, that's all 7 days. You take the entirety of the week, 55% of those days, we were away from our homes. So we are very excited to be potentially making travel more effective, getting to more parts of the country, kind of really using our time. You look like you're getting ready to say something.
Well, I'm going to answer a question. One of those parts is Yes, there's going to be a Vegas showcase.
Absolutely.
I would stop working if there wasn't. I would quit.
and for all intents and purposes, right now, it looks like we are going to be there.
We
That's
will be
going to
there
be
the
exciting. You know, because especially with an event like the Vegas Showcase, it's teams we don't get to see all that often. Dan based in Florida, myself based in New Jersey. Little easier to get to some of the East Coast venues. So when there's an awesome event like the Vegas Showcase that brings together a lot of those Pacific, those teams from California.
The big news with Vegas is I won't tell you who just yet until that schedule officially drops, but there will be multiple teams from outside of those Western divisions that will
that's
be
the exciting bit.
attending the Vegas Showcase. So you will have to keep an eye out for that. The Vegas Showcase is going to be a fun one just before
Absolutely.
Christmas time this year out in Sin City.
And you give us the opportunity to potentially play a little night golf, which we definitely do not have out here. Hopefully this time it won't be 35 degrees again and we'll be able to get out there and do it.
Little night golf for Dan K. You don't got to sell me on that. You don't got to push me to it. Going out to Vegas to watch a little hockey, don't got to sell me on that. Don't got to push me to it. We're going to be in Florida. We're going to be up in the western portions of the country at places we don't want to let you know just yet.
Can't let you know yet.
Places, we'll have places out there. We'll be in Idaho Falls. We're going to be out in Pueblo yet again. We're going to be up in the Northeast. It's going to be an absolutely stellar year. My way too early, I wouldn't call it a prediction. My way too early. Dan K shows unofficial
Rumination.
NCDC sports booking. I would tell you my favorite right now to raise the Dineen Cup would be the PAL Junior Islanders. Today, if you ask me today who's going to raise it, I would tell you that I think they are the favorites in the clubhouse just with who's returning and what they've got coming into that building right now. After that, I would tell you, don't be surprised if the champion comes from out west.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is you are going to, between the 12 teams in the East, right? So the thing to remember is that the Dineen Cup will be played between a Western team from the Mountain. Or an Eastern team from the New England Atlantic. So by definition, you're going to have a shot for a Mountain team to be able to – you're going to have, by definition, the ability for a Mountain team to come out and win a Dineen Cup in year one. Can you imagine the pressure that's going to be on the Eastern representative to defend that Dineen Cup? This is why it's so exciting. This is why expansion for us is so exciting, because new teams, restructuring, reorganization, it's a chance for new storylines to develop. Sure, Dan might think that the reigning Dineen Cup champion is the favorite. I don't think that's the boldest prediction ever uttered in the world of
in
sports.
Junior hockey, it is, all right? It's hard to repeat. The hardest thing to do in sports, what's the hardest thing to do in sports?
I mean, if you're a New York Yankee, hit a baseball between two foul lines.
That is true. After that, win a championship. What's even harder than that? Doing it again.
I don't know. I don't know. I think winning a championship at all is hard. I don't think it has anything to do with winning it back-to-back years.
Outside your mind. This guy's outside his mind. I'm Dan K. West side, strong side, left side. I feel like we're talking about a little bit of remember the Titans.
And this is why I
Gary
love
here.
This is why I'm so excited about the Idaho Falls Showcase, Las Vegas Showcase, these mountain teams, because right now you've got a bunch of folks excited about Vegas, excited about Idaho Falls, excited about these mountain teams. Some of the excitement from we talked a little bit earlier about the premier teams that were represented at this NCDC showcase, right? We had representatives from players from San Diego, players from Toledo, players from all across the country. They're excited to be playing NCDC hockey potentially, right? The excitement level is high right now. And I feel like people are really looking forward to this product.
I'll tell you, you start looking at some of the teams out there in that mountain region at the NCAA Division I level that are working with these guys, whether it's Denver U, whether it's Colorado College, like the growth, whether it's Air Force, right? And you look, it's only going to grow the game in the West. That's the point of this NCDC brand. It's to continue to grow the game. It's to create good opportunities for young athletes to find not just an education, but maybe a chance to move up the ladder in this game and get to the highest levels, to the highest reaches. And if you don't, to get a great education along the way and to become a better person, a better player, a better athlete. Like, we're excited for all this. You've got to go follow us right now if you haven't already at NCDC JR Hockey. At NCDC JR Hockey, Instagram and Twitter. Facebook, just look up NCDC Junior Hockey. You'll find it. National Collegiate Development Conference, you'll find it. But NCDC JR Hockey on Instagram and Twitter, go give us a follow. That will be where you'll find all your NCDC news going forward. The National Collegiate Development Conference, Tier 2, tuition-free hockey, your future in this game. The T-Birds, I wouldn't be against it either. Although I will tell you this about the Thunderbirds' new owner, Marco Benvenuti, straight from Italy, he did make fun of the way I drink coffee. He said, Dan, never out of a cup like this. Never out of a cup like this. This is not how you drink coffee. I said it is when you don't sleep and you travel over 100,000 miles a year to cover hockey.
You're speaking as the man who made himself an entire pot of coffee, stuck it in the cup holder on the drive.
So I drove up here, okay? Third, fourth, maybe. That's a great take. Not a great take, but also a hilarious take.
Yeah.
But you look at it. I did drive up. I drove up for this event. We're in Wayne, New Jersey. I drove up from Florida. Okay, so a nice 19-hour car ride for Dan K. Maybe it goes a little quicker if you get a little lead foot for a bit. Don't do that at home. But yes, I pack an entire pot of coffee in a camping gear setup? 100%. And I drank that entire pot of coffee. I apparently drove faster as the drive went up.
Well, there you go. If you had any doubt about the Dan K Show's ability to cover the entire USPHL, coast to coast, border to border, top to bottom, we're drinking pots of coffee at a time. We are getting ready to go. There's a little bit of summer left. We've still got about a month and a half, 6 weeks left of summer. We're going to be working on the golf game a little bit more because September, October,
happens so fast.
We'll also be golfing at some of these events. But once that season starts, it is off to the races. We will be tired. We will be happy to be covering hockey. Whoa.
I couldn't get there.
That high note isn't there today.
It wasn't there today. I think it might be
by
on
September.
coffee.
It'll be there.
It'll be there. I'll get the high notes. I'll have the high notes on the air. We'll have the low notes. Get where we need to go.
That's it. NCDC, JR Hockey. Go follow it. It's going to be the only place you're going to hear about NCDC.
Go follow it right now. Again, the way that the Dan K Show product will look this year for you. Tuesday nights are all things NCDC. Wednesdays, you'll find your audio podcast, The Dan K Show Presents Junior Hockey, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you get your podcasts. Go follow that one right now. Subscribe to it on Spotify, iTunes. I'm a Spotify guy. That's where I listen to it. Go to Spotify. Go to iTunes right now. We've got tons of episodes for you, over 100 there. There's 40 more to come over the next couple of weeks here. Lucas is editing away like a little Keebler elf in a tree. And now you can also, Thursday nights will be your normal Dan K Show. That'll be your Dan K Show Premier and Elite Edition, talking about the Premier, talking about the Elite, all the updates. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, the first one of each month, Power Rankings, baby. Elite, Premier, and now NCDC Power Rankings, your top squads from all throughout the nation. Find out what the most watched show in junior hockey thinks about your team. And be sure to chirp us when you think we're wrong. Real quick, let's see.
Will there be more teams than last year's Vegas Showcase?
There will be. I cannot tell you who it is. No, not as it looks right now. There will be. There will be. And it'll work. They'll make it work. It's going to look cool. It's going to be a lot of hockey. Awesome. We're going to be there. We're going to be calling games. Mm-hmm. I may or may not also put maybe we'll have like a poker tournament in the lobby.
I just don't think we can do that.
That's probably